The Nets are 1-4. Given what we are seeing from Simmons right now, is it enough for them to have the season that you have predicted they should have?
Not if he's playing the way that he's playing. He's been bad.
Coming back from it, he's not going to look at the basket. Forget even shooting the basketball. I watched about a handful of times where he set the screen, could have actually rolled to the basket, but he didn't even dive to the basket because he was afraid of even getting the ball to finish for a layup.
Now that the NBA season has just begun, one of the biggest questions that we're facing right now is Ben Simmons the biggest flop in NBA history? Back in 2019, Ben Simmons signed a massive super deal extension with the Philadelphia 76ers. He signed a 5-year, $170 million deal, solidifying him as one of the better young players in NBA. Since signing that deal, Ben Simmons has gone down an average in every stat in points, rebounds, and assists. And at the beginning of this season, even though it's been a few games, Ben has gone down in those stats as well, averaging 5 points a game, 6.2 rebounds a game, and 6.8 assists per game. And Ben Simmons is known as a pass first point forward in the NBA. While going down in averages, he is scheduled to be making $35 million this year. Yes, don't get me wrong, Ben Simmons is still young. He's only 26 years old, and he's missed a lot of years in his career. His rookie year, he was injured. So there's a lot of tread on his tires for his upcoming years. Some people say he hasn't even reached his prime yet. Even though there's lots of tread on his tire and time for Ben to become better, the Brooklyn Nets don't have the patience and the time for Ben to develop. Kyrie Irving is on his last year of his contract. As we all know, he requested a trade during the offseason but was unsuccessful. So he had to opt into his contract for this year to prove that he is a team player and is capable of winning and staying consistently on the court. And then we all know KD. KD just recently signed a new deal with Brooklyn, but he also requested a trade this offseason due to the inability, confusing direction of where the Brooklyn Nets is going to be going in the future. Steve Nash is a terrible coach. We all know this, even though KD and Kyrie has requested Steve Nash to be their coach. Now, Brooklyn was hoping to get the Ben Simmons that we all saw in Philadelphia before he took his 2-year hiatus and his injury and his mental health fiasco from leaving the league and being out of games. But what we're getting is a non-aggressive Ben Simmons who isn't looking to get his own shot, driving and dishing straight to KD and Kyrie. This Ben Simmons that we've seen seems to be a little afraid on the court. Me personally, I think it's him playing with two potential Hall of Famers in KD and Kyrie. He doesn't want to be the guy to be, to mess up the game. When he was in Philadelphia, he was demanding to be the guy. He went to management and even requested that they traded Joel Embiid and build the team around him. We're not seeing that in Brooklyn. We're seeing a complacent guy who doesn't want to get involved as much. We're seeing the guy who's looking to take the back seat instead of being the driver of the bus. We're not seeing the Ben Simmons who's looking to drive to the paint and dunk on everybody. We're looking at the Ben Simmons who wants to be on the bench. He doesn't want to be in the game. During Ben's 4 years in Philadelphia, he averaged 15.9 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, and 7.7 assists per game during those 4-year tenure in Philadelphia. Throughout those 4 years, his numbers were going up. He was looking like the defensive stopper, the guy who could get his teammates involved in the game. He was getting everyone open. He wasn't scared to drive to the paint and look for his own, I don't want to call it a shot, his own dunk and his own layup. We all know Ben Simmons isn't a shooter. He isn't shooting past the paint. So in Brooklyn, I don't understand why we're rushing for him to develop a 3-point shot out of nowhere. He never had that shot, and he probably will never have that shot. Like I was mentioning before, Ben Simmons used to be the aggressive point forward who would get to the rim, occasionally get fouled, but he wouldn't make his free throws. But he would show the aggressiveness to be someone on the court. A player that I would give, comparisons to what Ben Simmons could potentially be is Ja Morant. Ja Morant isn't a great shooter, but he does shoot it and makes it at a decent clip, but he's not great. Ja Morant is a guy who gets to the paint at will whenever he wanted to, and he still does throughout the season, who's looking like an MVP candidate right now. Gets to the paint, gets his layups, gets his dunks, but while driving, he'll get his teammates involved. He'll dish it out to the 3-point line in the corner, He'll dish it out to the center, pick and roll, stuff like that. That's what Ben Simmons was known for through his time in Philadelphia with him and Joel Embiid. That's what they did. Pick and pop, pick and roll. That's what Ben Simmons thrived in. But here in Brooklyn, we're not getting none of that. We're seeing a Ben Simmons who will drive not even to the paint. He will drive to wherever KD or Kyrie is, pass them the ball, set a pick, and then find his way to the corner. But he is playing great defense. He is still being the guy to face opposing teams' #1 offensive scoring. Now, with Ben's ability to play defense, that was what Brooklyn was missing last year. A defensive-minded player who could go out there and stop opposing players. Not stop, I would say slow down. That's what Brooklyn problems were last year. And this year, it seems like they still don't have that guy. The team is still allowing a lot of points per game and is not closing out games as they should. Brooklyn just lost today to the Indiana Pacers. So it's looking like a terrible slow start for Brooklyn Nets, and a lot of people are putting the blame on Ben Simmons. And I don't blame him. Ben Simmons is not playing like the Ben Simmons that we know. Now look, the season's still young. It's only been 6 games for the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons is still young. There's still time for him to gain his confidence and return to form as he did as his All-Star years and his All-NBA and All-Defensive years. There's still time. Not too long ago, Ben Simmons was averaging triple-doubles, putting triple-doubles up like it was nothing, getting the rebounds, assists, and points. Even though it wasn't at a great clip, he was still getting triple-doubles. During his time in Philadelphia, he did put in the work to gain the contract that he has. So there is potential for him to return to form. But the question is when. And if Ben Simmons does not return to those levels on a consistent basis, Ben Simmons will be the biggest flop in NBA history.